Let's just dive on into some games this morning, huh? So we've got Trundle Swain here as a build around submission. Swain actually works quite well with a number of Freljord cards. He says when you've dealt 12 non-combat damage, he levels up. And then his leveled mode says whenever you deal non-combat damage to enemy nexus, stun the strongest back row enemy. So leveling Swain actually is quite easy with cards like Avalanche and Ember Maiden. These cards alone can level Swain in his entirety. Past these, we also have typical Noxian cards that help level Swain. We've got Fervor, we've got Death's Hand, we've got some Ravenous Flocks. And then at the very top end of our curve, we have Leviathan as a powerful finisher that also helps us draw our Swains consistently. So 5-8 for 8. That's his round start, deal 1 damage to enemy nexus 3 times. And this works very well with Swain's leveled mode because it'll give you 3 stuns on their board every single turn. Leviathan is frequently one of the best things you can be doing in mid-range and control decks in Runeterra in terms of top end. So in this deck, I've got us set up so we can draw Leviathan as consistently as possible. So in addition to 3 Leviathan, I've got 3 copies of Babbling Berg here, which Leviathan is the only 5+ power card in our deck by default. So Berg draws Leviathan, Leviathan draws Swain. In a roundabout way, we have 9 copies of Swain to have access to. We do have Trundle here as our second champion as well. His Icequake notably works well with Swain, which is nice. And he levels when he sees an Ice Pillar come down, and technically his leveled mode can get grabbed with Berg too. So if you have leveled Trundle in your deck, you're not guaranteed to grab Boat, but a lot of the time you're going to get Leviathan. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how it goes. Ooh, Trundle Swain. What regions are there less staples in Runeterra? Ionia is probably, not even probably, Ionia is the least common region right now. So there's a Twitter user, Cosmic Plays, that puts out meta recaps every week based on decks that are being played in Platinum and above. And one of the stats he has on there is how common regions are to be played. So, like, for example, this week, Ionia's been the lowest for a while. This week's actually a little bit higher than it was, but in general, the regions are, like, relatively balanced. Ionia could stand to get a bit of a buff, I think, in the next big balance patch, though. Our opponent's playing Misfortune Gangplank, which honestly, all of these cards are probably good. Maybe Fervor's not great, because I don't have anything necessarily to pair it with. I like the way this looks. Ember Maiden and Avalanche making Flock work, and everything in play is great. Yeah, big agreed. Those are both great enablers for Flock. What's going on, Talion? Yeah, I set up the channel points to send messages for non-subs to be a little bit more than 1 per hour. Seemed like a reasonable ratio to allow people to post mostly what they want, but not get flooded constantly. Yikes. I'm gonna block here because it sets up Flock to kill this next turn. Hopefully we're just professional and peel Avalanche. Or Ember Maiden. So we've got 6 really good draws here. That is not one of them. I'm gonna lead on Flock in case they have Misfortune.
Explosives primed.
So pretty unfortunate draw for us overall. Maybe I could have mulliganed a little bit more aggressively to try and find my 6 sweepers against their aggressive deck. Yeah, honestly, probably playing Flash Freeze as a game 2 here. Opponent's deck has an incredible amount of reach in it in the mid to late game, so trying to keep my life total as high as possible is a lot of value here. The fact that they open attacks there is very good for us. They don't know that we don't have Avalanche. This would have been a nice draw last turn. I actually think that takes really bad, Talion. So Talion says, It's funny how suddenly Swain TF and Pirate Aggro are back now that Gohard was nerfed. It's almost as if they were unplayable with Gohard being prevalent. So, one, the metrics on Pirate Aggro said that Pirate Aggro was super reasonable and had decent win rates even while Gohard was the popular deck in the format. Second is that, what's the word that I'm searching for? Second is that Swain TF, as opposed to being made unplayable by Gohard, was simply doing similar things to what Gohard was trying to do, while generally being worse at them because of the payoffs that it had at the top end. Also, something that we frequently see happen in Runeterra is, even though decks are still good, people stop to play them less once they take a nerf to the knee. Is pretty expected behavior a lot of the time. Past that as well, in a game like Runeterra, where there's so many decks that can be competitive at any given point, I think far too often we see players equate far too often we see people stick on decks even though they're similar to other things just because they're comfortable with them. Decks that you like playing and decks that you feel comfortable with have a lot of value in still playing them compared to other games where, like, you should feel obligated to play the top decks because those games aren't well balanced. So this is leveling next turn, which is terrifying. I think we're probably dead here.
You wanted round.
Gotten burned a little bit too much here. Spartan, thank you for the 3/4 of a year. I really appreciate that. Welcome back. Own is cool. Thank you for the 21 months. Good morning. Good morning. Our hand was super clunky this game. Just a little bit. There's a very reasonable chance that my deck has too many spells in it, like Troll Chants and stuff like that. As we saw in this game, like, I just got gummed up with too many of them early and didn't have anything to play. They're going to sleep with the fishes on something, and then this is going to level. Yeah, we're pretty dead here. And double check my unit count here really quick. This is a build around submission for Swain plus Freljord, so I put it together. Chance past Jeff miffed up. 16 spells is a little on the high end. Not a ton, but maybe a touch high. I'm not playing any Tavern Keepers. What if we fit in a couple of those, actually? I'm gonna tram the Noxian Fervor and a Troll Chant. Just a really good 3-drop in general. I think Avalanche is super reasonable, and I think Avalanche is actively good in a lot of matchups, and I think Avalanche in conjunction with things like Ravenous Flock and Noxian Fervor gains a lot of value even in places where Avalanche isn't a complete blowout. Is there wisdom from other card games I should let go of while playing Runeterra? I don't know about fully letting go of the wisdom from other card games so much as the way in which you apply it is a little bit different. So, for example, resource efficiency is a big thing in Runeterra, just like it is in other card games, but the way in which you think about being resource efficient in Runeterra is very different, because, for example, I'm not being resource inefficient by not spending this 1 mana this turn. So the way in which you think about how you're sequencing your turns in Runeterra and how your games are playing out is different in terms of resource efficiency because of how the core structure of Runeterra works as a game. Runeterra, you get rewarded more often for thinking through things in longer terms, basically. your optimal play on turn 2 in Runeterra is more often dictated by your optimal play on turn 5 can be dictated by your optimal play on turn 2. And I elected not to play a card out here before they attack, because now they attack this into here, and then I get to drop Ember Maiden and clean both of these up, which is great. And then have a decent open attack next turn, which is sick.
Fire knows its own.
Happy last day of 45, Barbers. Thanks for the 10 months. Welcome back.
Breathe in.
And that's 4 points for the old
Swallows
Swain.
their tears.
Is that 4 for Swain? Does he count my stuff? I forget. He's all non-combat damage, right? Yeah, all non-combat.
Patience.
I think I'm gonna go ahead and play this out. Heals me up a little bit, which is nice. Uses my resources for the turn. That is correct, Big Mama. Scorched Earth does not deal damage. If they open attacks with this, I think I'm probably just gonna Death Sand it.
Our strength is yours.
Yeah, both Trundle, Icequake, and Avalanche can level Swain entirely on their own.
I'll spot him. I'm through waiting. Ready the torches.
Do I want this to die? I don't think so. I think I'll save that. I'm gonna go ahead and tell this to get flocked, and then we'll Scorched Earth their 6/6. And we'll be able to play Omen Hawk and open attacks for 3 next turn. Again, keeping the board clear here as we go along, working towards this Leviathan is everything we want to be doing in this matchup. Not. Thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. There's a Johnny Darius deck, so I think I want to open rather than playing Trundle to start. I think there's a good chance if I play Trundle, I end up not being able to attack this turn. So getting in my 3 points of damage sounds great. It's their second Hearthguard, which is kind of scary. Their deck is going to be full of thick monsters here. Culling Strike looking really bad at this point. Sagittarius is an established archetype at this point, Lord Odin. It's one of the many Overwhelm variations in the format. If we could dodge an Overwhelm unit this turn, we're going to be in a really good spot.
No one.
For Trundle.
You can see the Demacian border from here.
So I assume this is going to hook him.
Our banner will lead the way.
Yeah, there's a lot of good established decks in Runeterra, to be fair. Yeah, that's the much better hook, because I can't jump block this one.
Cut for reavers.
I'm gonna block with these two, get to draw a couple of cards here, take 6 down to 13.
Light the signal fires. Blood King. Alert the village.
Second Trundle actually sounds kind of great. This hooks the strongest enemy. I guess leveling this isn't super useful, huh? So I think I'm gonna Death Sand this and then play Hawk out as an extra blocker here. I agree that Overwhelm aggro is underrated. And again, like, that's just what, like, again, people talking about the play rates of things and whether or not they're good or bad, like, it's hard to talk about whether or not play rates indicate power level in a game like Runeterra where there's just so many different decks you can play. I think I'd rather play Trundle out than Leviathan to start here, so that way I can have a blocker I don't mind throwing away inside of combat. This Culling Strike looking really bad. There's a chance we're talking about maybe I have too many spells in this deck. There's a chance that Culling Strike is a card I shouldn't be playing. I've got 2 of those. I don't really have frostbite kind of effects to work with this. This card's better when you have like things like Sajani or Flash Freeze, and I have like one freeze, but I don't have a lot of that style of effect. Alright, if we can dodge a Battle Fury, we can dodge a ball here. I kind of expect them to open attacks.
Hail, War Mother. Drive them before us, Era.
Sugar in your boots. It's good to be the king.
Ruination is the only full-on destroy all units effect in the game currently, yes. Just as a heads up, Knacker, please don't use the acronym WOG in my channel. I know you meant Wrath of God in that instance, but that is a slur. So they hook this here, we trade Trundle here, we block here, we take 6.
They look angry.
Yep.
Troll out. Deploying.
Okie doke. So again, Leviathan plus Swain's gonna stun their 3 largest things every single turn.
Empire above all. Master.
We don't have anywhere near enough spells for Starlit Seer. Again, I think if there's an issue with this deck, I think we have too many spells. So rather than adding cards that synergize with spells, I'd rather trim some of them. Pillar is kind of free. Yes, I definitely should have played Pillar. That's a good observation. Having that as a blocker would have been really valuable. I wouldn't have to get into combat with my Swain then. It's a good catch.
Our banner will lead the way. Bar the doors. Counterattack. They walked around.
Hopefully they're just dead next turn.
These old eyes still see far and clear.
Sweet. Again, kind of showing what we talked about in the deck tech there, where the total power level of Swain Leviathan in that mid game where we get set up is really, really strong. Yeah, Swain Leviathan doing Swain Leviathan things there. It's definitely a good summary. I kind of wouldn't mind. The Culling Strikes felt awkward. I kind of wouldn't mind another 1 or 2. I guess a third Tavern Keeper might be fine too. I like this card a lot. Past Shift not putting those into start, it like makes up for not having low curve, and like Ember Maiden and it could also be a third Death's Hand. This doesn't look like it, but this is technically a turn 2 play. It lets you kill Zoe early as well. Put Death's Hand in. This is a little bit of reach, and it triggers Swain as well. You can bank your spell mana on 1 and then turn 2 Death's Hand, which is nice. And that's one of the things too. People talking about things you got to break coming from other card games coming into Runeterra is how you think about your curve needs to be different in Runeterra as well, because you know, my 3 mana spell is actually a 2 mana play in a pinch, a turn 2 play in a pinch. Braum, Vladimir. My Ember Maidens are probably awful here, if I had to venture a guess. I'm going to keep Trapper and Trundle. Does Twitch Mobile have dark mode? It definitely does. We do have Scorched Earth here for their first Scar grabs, which is nice. I've never played The Witcher DLC. Does it offer anything new or exciting? The people that told me The Witcher DLC is better than most standalone RPGs did not lie. It's really well done. We finished the first, and we're into the second one. And it's been very reasonable so far. I'm gonna take a little bit of a hit this turn. I'm gonna do this, which puts me to... I'm gonna take 7, and then I can play Ember Maiden to finish both of these. I don't think I can just pass here, because I think if I just pass, my opponent passes back and burns my mana. So I think I need to, unfortunately, take a little bit of an extra hit here in order to set this up. I think I'm going to open attacks here again, because like I said, if I play Trundle, there's a good chance they play a unit that Trundle can't attack into anyways. Like that.
The trolls are going to war!
Brom and the Poro having a good time here.
Time for talking. Have you met my shield?
Yeah, I had fun with Baldur's Gate that I've played so far. I definitely plan to revisit Baldur's Gate 3 when they get more of it done. When there's more than one act. I'll probably wait at this point till I get 2 or 3. Well, that's just rude. Fair's fair, I suppose. We technically are going to get 2 for 1 in our Scorched Earth here. How do games decide how many hours of gameplay there is? Usually they take an average of how long it takes people to do stuff.
They're out there. I'll spot them. How can Brom help?
How can Brom help?
Sure about that? Not done yet.
It's a good draw. It's a nice Leviathan.
Join me in battle. Prepare the cargo.
With Troll Chant, this guarantees to block this nicely.
My way.
I guess they might hook this.
Show me your best.
Oh, interesting.
Ready the torches.
If they have another Scorched Earth, we're going to be in trouble. But outside of Scorched Earth, I think I want to play around other damage-based removal on here. Leviathan plus Swain taking this over again is definitely the goal.
Light the signal fires.
So if this lives with Swain, we'll be in a very good spot here, obviously. If they have another Scorched Earth, we're probably dead, realistically.
Empire above all. Glory, courage, excuses for war.
Excuses for war. I guess this was kind of free to play out. Maybe I'm supposed to do that. Okay, rewarded Rewarded for not letting this get damage marked on it. Wonder if they have a way to finish this off or not. 21 months, first month with Runeterra. Sorry I doubted you. Cut the MTGA cord last week and I've not missed at all. Mental health are in a better place because I walked away. Yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying Runeterra, and I'm glad you found that it was better for yourself. Am I murdering Braum? I think I'm murdering Braum, huh? I guess this stuns something in a pinch, which has value. No, I'm just gonna pass. I'm gonna pass because stunning this in a pinch has stunning something in a pinch has a lot of value. It could be right to tell this to get flocked. Yeah, I can see that. They having, I don't know. Does this card even matter, really? So if I Death's Hand this, it'll stun this, which sounds great.
Their time has come. Such little lives. I'll fight another day. King of Trolls coming through.
And then I probably want to tell this to get flocked. This is still putting them to 5, so hopefully Ice Pillars next turn mean that I get to kill them. Okay, they have Scorched Earth as well. It was a good draw. We know they drew this because they would have played it last turn.
We're going under!
Let the flames take you.
Is that good for us? I guess it kills these.
Breathe it
Gosh, we're so close to lethal.
Trolllands now. Hail to the king!
So this Ice Pillow will make this one vulnerable, and then I can Avalanche.
Bring the fight! Crush them!
And this is going to be attacking for 8. If I Avalanche, this goes to 1 toughness, then they die, right? Why wouldn't I Avalanche? It lets me kill them. If this is a brick, they're dead.
I'll knock 'em dead. One smack'll do.
Pass the first trimester, I can tell people I subbed to this channel now. Thanks for that. Thanks for the quarter for your guide, Mouse. I appreciate that. Yeah, opponent showing us they had the culling strike and made a small mistake there. If my opponent would have responded to my avalanche with the culling strike, I wouldn't have had lethal because I wouldn't have beheld a second 8 drop. So sneaking that one out there on the back of a small mistake from our opponent. This matchup's gotta be awful, right? Maybe the Leviathan plan is good enough. Maybe. So you're gonna find shuffler truthers, people that think the programmed RNG is out to get them in every game, and that's because the alternative option to the game is unfair and out to get me is I'm bad at the game and I'm making mistakes and I'm losing games because I made mistakes. And there are a number of human beings that don't have the self-reflective capabilities to be able to admit that they've made a mistake.
I'm not afraid. Just a wee bit late. The trap is set.
The shuffler doesn't need to get me. I'm perfectly capable of getting myself. Big mood.
Hot on the trail.
To heal and protect.
Will no one listen?
All right, so we've tutored for our tutor. Yo, dog. We do have Yetis in our deck, so, like, there's a chance that this draws a Yeti. So, honestly, I think we play this turn, and we're 33% to draw a Yeti. There's 2 Leviathans and 1 Yeti in the deck at the moment. What if I Avalanche here? Is that crazy? I think trying to kill this is a lot of upside. Do they have a ton of heals? They have 3 Guiding Touch. You classify 3 Guiding Touch as a ton? Now Guiding Touch does get me, because they can touch this, and then it will no longer take damage from this. Bastion, sure.
Live with purpose.
Nailed it. Cutting off their card advantage with Soraka here is huge. More Anivik. Cutting off their big healing for Starspring also has a lot of value. Alright, I think with the Yeti draw, I am going to deploy stuff to the board before I attack here. If I hadn't drawn the Yeti, I think I would open, but the Yeti means I have a good amount of pressure.
Pablo's been down. Let his knee out.
I want to get this down before I play the next Babbling Bird, because I'd like Babbling Bird to have a chance to draw Enraged Yeti, since I already have a Leviathan rolled up. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Do. This feels, if this board trades like this, that feels good for me. It means their Star Spring is again not going anywhere. I'm ahead on board. I'm ahead on board. Their Star Spring's not scary, and I have a lot of good top end in my hand. So it feels like we're in a very good spot. Okay. I mean, another Yeti draw here means that this is drawing another Leviathan, but we're also, like, at the 8 mana points now, so, like, I'm not really sure that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's my favorite deck in the format right now. Probably Zoe Fizz.
Hope only provides temporary sustenance, child.
Zoe Fizz has big, sweet deck energy. Zoe and cards that go through. There's so many Zoe decks, you can't make me pick just one. So forcing blocks with the Kench means that he has a harder time eating things, which is nice. I have a singleton copy of Scorched Earth, so I don't know that leaning on that is necessarily something we're going to be able to do. Yeah, Starlit Zoe's a lot of fun too. Big agree.
Go no further.
Zoe Lux is good for control decks. Shitty, crappy tempo decks will always have a special place in my heart, though. And again, putting them to 3 here with 2 Leviathans in hand also is real good. Huh? There's no way I take this pass, right? Yeah, I think I obligate them to be able to kill Leviathan here. They need to be able to... If they have, like, Astral for this... Well, sometimes they have the best possible.
Plenty of room inside.
Okay.
I lead my own.
I'm sure there's something for my tastes.
We're passing back to their turn, D-Rock.
You leave me no choice.
I think I take this pass now and open attacks. Not a terrible draw. Means I can save my things when they go to block them. Sick pass. I says they're dead. Click OK. I says they're dead. Click OK. We take those. Yeah, they were trying to bait us into playing out the Swain they knew we had. And they were just dead to opens. Yeah, like, understanding the priority system and knowing when to pass in Runeterra is easily one of the most skill-testing things in the game. When knowing when not to blink is really tough sometimes, especially in matchups if you haven't played them before. Ina, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Morning, coach. Greedy pets. I don't know that it was strictly greedy. Like, they saw me jam the Leviathan the previous turn, and maybe they assumed I just would again, but like the difference being I was getting the attack token now on the pass was an important distinction. Well, this hand looks great, right? I'm gonna mulligan the Tavern Keeper. Their deck's a little bit aggressive, but not enough to keep this in the opener, I don't think. And I've got this 1, 2, 3 curve that's real nice.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Ergo, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel this morning. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We're up over 300 people already. Great to see folks here enjoying some Runeterra. If you're new to the channel like Ergo and Ina, I stream full-time here on Twitch. I'm here doing Runeterra stuff 5 to 6 days a week in the mornings usually. We play a ton of different constructed decks, so all those deck names you see listed in the stream title are the decks I intend to play today in the order in which I intend to play them. If you're interested in seeing what things are going to be coming up on stream later, you can find them all in the deck queue on my website. A lot of the decks we play here are viewer-submitted ideas. Very community-focused channel. That's not terrible. That means this Ravenous Flock's going to be able to kill Ezreal next turn, which is nice. Sweet. All right. Well, open on that one, I suppose. Them giving us a draw off the Sentry to propel us into this was lovely. Deal.
Fire knows it's so.
Pretty solid attack here. And then we've got Trundle into Tavern Keepers that help keep us alive. This is also going to end up pushing damage to their noodle a little bit, which is great. Since both Nexus as well have returned. So, unfortunately, won't be able to Trundle this turn because I do want to tell this to get flocked. But we'll be able to play out a Tavern Keeper as a 4/4, which is nice. I don't know, D-Rock. That's a tough question to answer. That's more of a philosophical design question on the designer's part than I think, something that we can figure out personally. Yeah, Yeti is very good against decks that are playing damage-based removal, for sure. Power level Swain, it just deals damage. It's just like, this card's just good against aggressive things as well. Just a pretty generically reasonable card. Took the Vlad deck to the Gauntlet, went 6-0 in games. It wasn't banned. 1 win through a transfusion onto a leveled event. Nice. Am I opening attacks here? I don't think so. I think Trundle's gonna get to play. It's the most brain-dead deck you can recommend me to turn my brain off and enjoy. You should try the Frel Alliance deck. Frel said this, the Frel Alliance Overwhelm. It's up on my website under the aggro section. It's my favorite, like, just slam units into people deck for sure. I think the fact that I'm two mana off of Ice Pillar means I'm okay trading this for one of their things plus a damage spell here. I think it's something I'm okay with. Keeping their board relatively clear while I work my up to Leviathan sounds really appealing. It's also a very cheap deck to build too, because it only wants to play 3 champions.
And I thought I was a troll.
That's true. And honestly, that's actually something that's kind of detrimental to Runeterra in a way, is the fact that Runeterra doesn't really have good turn your brain off decks is a downside to a lot of people. I think more people than care to admit while playing card games like the fact that there's times where they can just turn their brain off and autopilot. Runeterra, in terms of how I feel after playing Runeterra is the most mentally taxing card game I've ever played because of the number of micro decisions you have to make game to game. Alright, really hoping to draw something we can play next turn before these 8 mana things happen. I guess we could just play this as a 3/3, but that's not super exciting. Perfect. When I play Runeterra, I have to stop whatever else I'm doing and focus on the game, which is the opposite of grinding games on Arena. Yeah, big agree. I'm going to pass here. I expect them to hit me with this. They might just burn 2 of my mana here, but if they attack, I want to play this and gain life. And I think I'm fine with them burning my mana there. So... okay. They can't Captain Fair on me here. Correct. That's why I passed, Gendy, because I didn't want to just play out a naked 3/3 with no value on it. So I gave up some mana efficiency for the sake of that. I mean, I wasn't really attacking with this either. I was expecting them to either attack or I was okay with giving up mana. Either of those were fine for me. You know, it's kind of funny in a way too. So whenever you would talk to like Magic players about Hearthstone, they would always be kind of elitist about how Hearthstone's a worse game because you can't play on your opponent's turn in Hearthstone. But honestly, after playing a bunch of Runeterra, I feel like I could criticize Magic for the same reason. It feels like Magic's a worse game than Runeterra because of the number of opportunities I have to actually play cards in Magic.
Destination in sight.
Like the fact that you're always playing on Runeterra is a big difference. All right, you got a Scorched Earth here for one of these. Are you gonna die? They're digging shit. They're spinning their tires. And again, just showing the power of Leviathan in these mid-range matchups. And honestly, with Babblingberg drawing it too, right? Like, with Babblingberg, I basically get to play 6 copies of Leviathan, which is super powerful. Yeah, and not only that, not only does Magic only let you play on your opponent's turn if you choose not to play on your turn, but you also have to have your deck built in a specific way and draw specific cards for that to even be an option. The Runeterra, both priority and mana system where you can bank mana, really rewards and encourages bluffing in a way that's quite excellent. Alright, discard aggro. Let's mulligan for some avalanches, huh? Ember Maiden's a fine avalanche constellation prize, huh? That'll do, pig. That'll do. Not attacking, because I'd rather be able to block this 2-1. I just pass. I'm just gonna pass. We're 1,000% favorite as this game goes long, right? It's not particularly close. Both of us burning mana to generate extra mana here sounds great. And again, just the power of doing nothing. You burned 2 of my mana to burn 1 of your mana. That exchange seems good for me. And now because they didn't go wide earlier, this plus this kills their crowd favorite. And then next turn we get to drop Trundle. So we played Avalanche and Death's Hand, and Swain is leveled.
These are troll
Just you and me, Fishbones. And them.
I think I'm happy to trade Trundle for Jinx plus a deal damage spell. Death's Hand plus Ember Maiden can kill Jinx here.
The party has arrived.
Patience.
Oh, part of the plan, I just made up.
Nothing's tougher than a troll.
They like 1,000% have vision here, right? I think I just do my best to make sure Trundle doesn't die here and my life total stays high. I don't want to, like, do this, they vision, this kills this, and then they, like, play a damage spell and kill this. So I think instead of trying to take a 2-for-1 that likely gets blown out, I just take my guaranteed kill your best champion. My hand is again set up to be pretty favored as we go long, so I just want to, like, make sure I don't die while we're trying to go long. Just want to take as many defensive trades as possible because my end game is much better than their end game. Easy pass. Deal. I feel like my opponents misassessed their role and how they've used their mana this game.
Rules are made to be broken. Like buildings. Or people.
You should try blinking.
It could be right to just Ice Quake here. Leveling Trundle before the Ice Quake might be greedy. Leveling Trundle before the Ice Quake means it doesn't die to get excited though, which is nice. Thanks, Axiom.
I stand for Noxus.
I gotta work with this joker.
Yeah, and we get to Death's Hand finish the crowd favorite again, like literally just how we drew it up. Like this has been like a picture perfect game for this deck. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like this game is a clinic in how we would like the aggro games to go. Big agree. Honestly, it might be right to develop before I attack here. It probably doesn't matter. I'm not really sure there's a wrong way to eat this, Rhesus.
Ah, my meat shield.
My meat shield. Oh, right. This can draw Trundles once he's leveled.
Let the flames.
Bye, friends.
The answer's here somewhere. I wonder.
Burn them all.
Hey, let's see if they figure out the open attacks this time through. During Uro Growth Spiral days, most decks use those spells. I wonder why it's different in Runeterra with every Freljord deck. Because ramp is balanced in Runeterra. Because Runeterra is a well-designed card game.
But my experiments.
Bar the doors.
Bar the doors.
So many questions. They're out there. I'll spot them.
I'm playing this to try and bait them to play another unit before I Ice Quake them. Honestly, if they don't play anything, we probably just play this and then open attacks next turn, right?
Anything else?
The old 61 out of 12.
What's the word?
All right, we have a game here. You have a game here. That's their best possible last one to have.
Empire above all. Vision to see what others cannot.
The vision to see what others cannot. If they don't have another fearsome blocker here, Troll Chant lets us shrink this, and then this is lethal as well. Yep, yeah, Troll Chant has good synergy with Swain's fearsome ult, excellent, which is great.
Time for the main event.
Nothing escapes my watch.
Looks like they're gonna get to survive another turn here.
Revenge or perish.
Stay away from that switch. Got an axe with your name on it. Time for the moneymakers.
So this is a get excited then, right? Yeah, or an experimenter. I think this is their third experimenter. I think they discarded one earlier. Well, they're gonna get an axe, Milo.
Draven out.
So I actually think this deck that we're playing is a really good example of traps that people are going to fall into that aren't good Scargrounds decks. So Scarground is a card that's really only good under very specific circumstances, and when you don't have those circumstances met, it's really going to struggle to be decent. The read on Get Excited was perfect there. So this deck, while it has a few self-damaging things in it, I don't think we have anywhere near the critical mass needed to make Scargrounds be an appropriate payoff consistently. So, like, while it would be nice when we have, like, specifically Ember Maiden draws, outside of Ember Maiden, Scargrounds is frequently going to be lackluster in this deck, I would bet. Thanks, Axiom. We got a free game into Diamond! We did it, chat! Look at that, we're a Diamond gamer. And you can't say it wasn't all skill. God bless us, everyone. Shout outs to that last opponent who had somewhere to go. I appreciate you. We take those, chat. We take those. Listen, we play a lot of bad decks on this channel. Don't scoff at freebies into rank floors. Edavantana, for reference, I answered your question last time you posted that. I talked about it for a couple of minutes, so I'd encourage you to go back and check the timestamp for when you posted that the first time. It always surprises me when people, like, if you're gonna post a question, like, at least hang out long enough to hear the answer.
What's doing over there?
What you doing over there? Oh, you know, just doling out death to a small child. I'm sorry, Zoe. I loved you. I feel bad, chat. I feel bad. We killed the Zoe. She's so innocent and adorable.
Gotcha. The party has
Alright.
hot on the trail.
Hot on the trail. Crunch. And then Troll Chant means we should get to deal with Draven inside of combat next turn, which is excellent.
The future, I see purple.
Huh? Gross. I think I have to murder that. I think that's gotta go.
Cracked.
Opponent's deck going a little bit bigger with Swain here. Are they on 2/2/2 for champions? They must be, right? That's their second Zoe. This season lasts for a while yet, right? This season goes to like the end of February? Or am I misremembering? Huh. So do I Trundle or do I Yeti so I can Troll Chant? Going a little bit wide this turn has some appeal. I'm gonna Yeti and attack with these and Chant, I think.
Gems are superb. Bad for the teeth, though. I'm through waiting.
Probably getting set up to open attacks next turn, I imagine. Yeti with Chant can beat Draven through the support, though, which is nice.
They're out there. I'll spot them.
I'll spot them. So I can Trundle plus double Troll Chant this turn. Ooh, Avalanche. Hey chat, the burn deck's using their burn spells on my units. That means we're winning. For reference. Avalanche has been great. I agree. So I think we just play this. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think I'm doing this to trade these here, basically. It also hits them for 1, and then I attack for 3. You got it.
Burn them all.
So I get to go Trundle Sentry here, and then next turn we go Pillar Leviathan. And their health total's low from our early pressure, so Leviathan plus Swain's gonna close the game out real quick again.
His old eyes still see far and clear.
This deck's felt really good. I like when finding a highlight deck. Highlight decks are easy. I suppose they have a lot of gems here. Holding up champ might be better in Century? Yeah, you might be right. So what's their combination of stuff that kills us from here? They have like a deal 3 and a deal 1, like a Death Sand and a Fervor. I don't know. I think holding up Troll Chant was right. Like they're a Swain deck. Are they playing Decimate? Like I don't really know what their deck is doing, right? I mean, we're also not dead to Decimate this turn, right? I get to go Pillar into Leviathan. Yeah, I think I just accept that I'm dead to 4 direct damage here. I don't know. I shouldn't have played this, but I think now that I did, I'm committed, just hoping they don't have it.
Prepare the cargo.
This is my bed. We're gonna sleep in it.
Positions. Bow to your king. One snack will do.
And if we die from Xaxes, I definitely should not have played this. The person that commented hold up Troll Chant was better is definitely correct. You get like double Death Sanded here. Nope, just playing some cards out. Got it. Got it. Good. How do you decide if a build around is reasonable enough to try and make it? Just based on my experience playing the game, Necker. So if you have an idea, feel free to submit it using the forum, and I'll send you an email back letting you know one way or the other. So yeah, it was definitely right to hold the Troll Chant up and not play the Sentry there to not risk getting burned out. But we weren't punished for my mistake, which was nice. I'm full mulliganing here, looking for like 1, 2, 3 curves that I want, like Sentries, Hawks, and Trappers. Alright, that'll do. That's some of what we were looking for. Time to draw the others.
Flesh was weak, but look at me now.
Look at me now. Block.
Prime and ready.
Fire knows its own.
4/3 Ember Maiden's real good. Just for card games, target dummy.
Snuffed out.
Offer this attack in because we have these Death Sands.
System upgrade. Humanity is obsolete.
There's cheap send message options, so plebs like me with lots of channel points can still mostly chat. Yeah, people that are watching regularly can still send 1+ messages per hour, so. It basically is just ensuring that people that aren't actually a part of the community aren't coming in here and heckling me and offering shit to your opinions just to be obnoxious.
Disengaged. Fire till nothing moves. Can you improve perfection?
We haven't done anything with him yet. Are we just playing this and forcing some blocks here? I think I'm pretty okay with running this into one of these and it taking some damage because we have Kindly Tavern Keeper afterwards. They could like kill him with like a Ravenous block after they block him, but I've got Leviathans to draw more, so that seems fine.
System upgrade. Rise, metal brethren.
Vengeful perish.
Inferior design.
The one downside to sub chat is it slows channel growth. We get less followers. There's a lot of people that just close the channel if they open it in chats in sub only mode, but the average quality of the followers that we end up picking up that hang out after seeing what the channel is much higher, so it's probably still a net positive. We're probably double death sanding this turn. And then I can actually troll chant as well to kill their Draven still in combat with our 3/3. We're 2 turns off of getting to slam Leviathans, which is fine. We're gonna have a second Leviathan guaranteed here. This channel is about quantity. We'd probably still be watching it. Yeah, that's what I figured, Toolboxer. If I actually wanted to be obsessed with metrics, I would be streaming something else. Streaming Runeterra because I enjoy it more on average, so I'm just gonna make sure I'm able to continue doing that. People do really like Braum, and to be fair, I think a big part of what has kept Vlad decks bad for so long is people not being able to break themselves out of playing bad cards. I feel like this exchange is good for me here. Like a big reason Braum is popular due to his mustache. That's a fair take.
It was right on my tail.
It was right on my tail. I think I want to bank mana in order to hold up Flash Freeze this turn. Or hold up Flash Freeze for next turn specifically, I should say, because I would like to play Leviathan. Opponent's card advantage engine here with Draven. I wonder if Draven's design was they hoped for him to be this value engine in these mid-range decks, or if they were hoping for him to do something else.
I am the future. They're coming! Hide!
Everyone wants to run Vlad with Braum because of the natural self-damage, but their actual synergy is much worse. Yeah, and like, I think the talk about what Vlad does with Braum is a good example of people not thinking about problems that their decks have and how adding certain cards solves those problems. Because I think once you play with Vlad a little bit, you understand that it's an aggressive card, it's not a controlling card, and Braum is definitely a controlling card. It just like isn't really solving problems that exist there. No, Reddit's just a website, Knacker, if you're not familiar with it. It's a social media site. Anybody can read or post on it. Creating accounts is free. A Scorched Earth here? They do not have a Scorched Earth. Okay. Ooh.
By my hand, the Noxus rise.
Oh, this isn't leveled yet. Awkward.
Prime and ready.
Huh?
Nothing moves.
Yeah, I got an Avalanche then, right? Which feels bad. They're gonna get like, they're gonna have like Noxie and whatever. They're gonna have Guillotine, and I'm gonna be sad. I probably should have played this first. I should have. I'm just like, I'm used to this card being passively leveled in the games we've played. It's the fact that he wasn't leveled from the start sucks. Yeah, I put 2 damage on him, chat. So this didn't need to have damage on it. Is the problem here? So this obviously had to eat the Avalanche, but this did not.
Witness strength.
I think I'm willing to trade this for their Experimenter plus a damage spell here. No other threat there is great for us. That's a great draw. Means I can. Is that beatable? Probably not. Probably not. We could have beaten this if they hadn't killed our Leviathan, but they did. So I can like Tavern Keeper next turn after taking this. Now they're gonna have 5 this turn, right? The 2 points to Swain loses this game. Not necessarily. I think there's a good chance we were dead regardless, Bitter Blight. There's a good chance we were dead regardless. Swain wouldn't have died to the Mystic Shot there, but like we still weren't really beating that Captain Pharaon. It is 8-8 with Overwhelm. You know what the best part about being on the rank 4 is? It actually just doesn't cost us anything to do. And this is why we finally ranked up. I've been conceding to Zoe Lee Sin. Which is why every time we get close, we queued a couple Zoe Lee Sins and I concede to them. If you're new to the channel, I play games for fun here, and I find the play patterns of Lee Sin incredibly toxic and frustrating. So rather than playing a game and being frustrated with it, I just skip those matches because I don't think they're fun. Sure, Stan. Why is that better though? They get that, like, their life total was at 12, so Leviathan being able to pressure them faster was valuable. Also, with that sequence, I don't get Swain and Leviathan out together at the same time. So I was prioritizing getting Swain and Leviathan on the board together quickly. Flash Freeze is actually probably great here. Avalanche is kind of mediocre. They have a lot of bigger units. I think the 3/3 with these 2 tricks sounds great, though.
These woods protect their own.
No, we didn't get hit for 6 this turn. It's good step 1. I filled out the deck submission form this morning. So the deck submissions are a manual process, Gringle, because I don't actually accept everything. I accept a lot of things, but I do reject some. So usually every late afternoon to early evening, you'll get a response to a deck list submission. Swap the deck list out. You want to change the deck entirely or just make small changes to it?
Eye of Twilight sees all.
Obviously, if you haven't donated for it, you're welcome to just say, nah, I changed my mind. It's not a big deal. It's not some kind of binding contract to submit something through the form.
An imbalance.
Nature blesses her followers.
Ready the torch.
Entirely. Yeah, feel free to just put a different thing through the form. It's not a big deal. Barrier on here is real annoying. I guess I can Troll Chant to deny this drawing a card, and then I can save this. Like that. Yeah, that's fine, Gurgle. Not a big deal. Man, they really want to draw a card, chat. This means that Shen's guaranteed to die to this flock, though, which is good for us. Yeah, that could have been it, Navier, because then with that line of play, I don't avalanche, and then my Leviathan doesn't die to their Tri-Beam, and we 6 them to the dome. Could have been a good choice.
It can't be.
It can't be. Attack with both of these. If they block here, we'll flash freeze. If they eat here, Ember Maiden kills this. Think I want to play this yet. I think I'd rather just bank some spell mana. Sounds good, Gringle. You get an email back this afternoon or this evening after I'm done streaming, usually. Usually I eat dinner and then I respond to deck submissions.
Patience.
Let the flames take you.
This turns on Ravenous Block. It gives me good open attacks next turn. Really hoping to draw like a 4, 5, or 6 mana card next turn to play out. But if not just burning mana. Yeah, that'll do.
From the train.
That'll do, pig.
You will not prevail.
I think I'm gonna do this, because otherwise my Ember Maiden kills all of these.
What form will the waters take?
Hey, maybe I'm not supposed to attack with the Yeti because of my Ember Maiden. I guess we're just passing here, huh? That feels really bad.
The fate of mortals and spirits falls to me.
Hopefully, powerful Leviathan top end's gonna drag us kicking and screaming across the finish line again.
Save your worlds. We speak with blades.
So I go.
On guard.
Swain is leveled this time. Let's keep track of that, since I missed it last time. Yeah, single combat and kill this?
Artillery barrage!
How do you feel about just, like, playing second Leviathan?
For conquest! For empire!
I think I'm into it.
Our wills align.
Alright, now we're dead. And we're dead. Because they have single combat they were thinking about last turn.
This will be quick.
Unfortunate they have their 1 or 2 of here in this.
Enforced equilibrium.
Try me.
So, dead to Riposte. Which they're likely to have because it's Fior's champion spell. Berg does draw another boat. You're not wrong.
Eyes blazing bright as torches!
Yeah, I could have Swained into Leviathan on my next turn, though. I'm glad we hit all of our bad beats after we ended up in Diamond, though. That's convenient that we got to sneak across the rank floor. I was pretty happy with this. I felt like the core idea of what we were looking to do came through really nicely. The Avalanches and the Ember Maidens leveled up Swain really consistently. We had that one game where he was like 61 damage out of 12, which was pretty sweet. Babbling Berg giving us a never-ending stream of Leviathans felt exactly as good as I wanted it to feel in the mid-range and control matchups. It's this never-ending flow of powerful top end, and then our mix of things at the bottom end here with Trapper, Tavern Keeper, Hawk, and Sentry felt pretty reasonable in the aggressive matchups. I can consider it be one of the more competitive Trundle decks in the current metagame. I mean, other than the Feel the Rush deck, there isn't really another Trundle deck. I'm always cautious to say, hey, this deck's super competitive after playing it for one 90-minute session because, like, the sample size is so small to the point of being irrelevant, but I will say it feels like there's potential here. So if you're looking to play Trundle, I think this would be a deck that would be worth trying to play more of to figure out if it is consistent and reasonable like our session today found out. So I think, like I said, I think this deck has a good game theory core as to what it's doing. It's playing three of a lot of its good cards, and in practice, in our small sample that we had today, it worked. It felt like it worked like I wanted it to work. So this is definitely something I would poke at again and felt potentially worthwhile. Yeah, definitely, Lamjin. There's some tension between Ember Maiden and our creatures. I like this deck, and to make this change to be the first thing I look at. So I actually disagree with that statement. So if you look at, I know it's very easy to be Twitch chat and look at the last game that we played where I made a bad attack with my Yeti and then Ember Maiden killed 3 of my things. But I think making a change to my deck because my card was bad after I made a mistake is a really shitty way to look at things. So like, if you look at my list of things that Ember Maiden is actually killing, it's Sentry and Omenhawk, and both of these things dying are like really not a big deal. In fact, in many cases, this thing dying is actively good. And Ember Maiden was stellar at enabling not only Swain, but also Flock and Scorched Earth at different points in that set. So I know it's very easy to focus on the games where it felt kind of bad in conjunction with my opponent's draw and mistakes that I made, but overall, I was actually really impressed with this card, and it did what I wanted it to do in that it was additional pseudo copies of Avalanche. It was an enabler for multiple things in our deck. Even Death Sand got enabled elegantly with Ember Maiden. Like, there's a lot of 3 toughness things in this format, and Ember Maiden plus Death Sand teaming up to kill those is great. Yeah, the deep is super reasonable. All right, let's go ahead and shift